Green all the way in 6A.
Alright, so I'm going to show you how to make the corner pieces that we need. We take our regular paper that we've been using for all the other bricks, and then I halved one of these papers, and I'm just putting it down below, like this, because we need it to be longer. So we take our Mod Podge, our old technique of dipping a little bit in on the top here. We stick that right in like that. Make sure you keep enough on the ends to fold. Now, I've taken a little piece. It's a little less than half, so make sure that you're careful with this. And remember, this is going to have to fold. So you don't want to put it on the paper right next to the bigger piece. You want to give it probably about 1/4 of an inch gap, because then you can see when it folds, it goes together nicely. And we actually do the same technique here now. We just fold this together, is because you have a bit of a jagged edge that's easier to blend in. If it's cut, you've got a straight line and it's a little obvious once you put the paint on it, I have discovered. So that's why I have a little jagged edge there with the rip. And also just because I'm so anal retentive. Okay, so now we have our corner piece made. And we're gonna do it just like we did the others. Put a little bit of glue on here. This is a little tricky though because it's going to fold. So remember, you wanna alternate short end, you know, the corners have to alternate. So I'm due to do this, and you've got to be really careful about your gap because you want it to be about 1/4 of an inch from the row above it. I have had to tear out many of these corners because I didn't quite get it right. And we just stick it on like that. Hold it a few minutes, and voila, we have our corner. I'm going to do one more, and then this is going to be complete. All right, one thing that I kind of forgot to mention was that you'll see here that at the end of a row, you get these pieces that aren't standard size. So what I've done is I've taken, you know, bits, and I'm like, oh, that one will fit there. So I do that like that, and then you've got some shapes that are really kind of funky, like this one right here, and this one right here. So you just kind of have to play around with that and find the shape that you want for your brick. Some of you might not even want the hole, so you won't have to worry about the different shapes. But I kind of wanted to shake it up a little bit. Plus, like I said earlier, I have this outlet, and I wanted the outlet to be, I wanted to make it part of the design, so that's why I kind of made these faces. But the thing is, I need to show you, there are a few tricky things. You just take half of the paper that you would use for a normal sized brick, and my technique is I just kind of take the piece, make sure you've got it the right side. This one doesn't matter because it's rectangle. And just, you know, let it dry a little bit. You've got to be careful with these triangle pieces because if you put glue on the wrong side, you're going to be reversed. So I number the wrong side, which means I need to put glue on this side, and then I'll wrap it and glue it onto the wall as needed. And then you have all of the shapes that you need for this project. And I'll show you, like, this triangle is a little tricky, but you just kind of fold the paper around it and you're going to have access. So just kind of rip it off if you need to. And then just fold it. The object is to make sure that each edge has coverage for when you paint it. Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my wood glue, just like I would any normal sized piece of brick. Put a little bit on there. And then this piece can go right into place, like so. Alright, so now I want to show you a little bit about painting all of these. I bought some acrylic paints, and this one is deep burgundy, this one is burnt sienna. I just wanted to try to get the most brick-like, terracotta-like colors that I could. The deep burgundy is kind of coming out like this nice bright red right here. And then I've got the terracotta one, or I'm sorry, the burnt sienna is this kind of brownish color. Very appropriate for bricks. I also bought some of this honey brown to mix with. I don't think I would want a brick that is this color. You can make your bricks any color that you want. But I wanted to just be able to make all sorts of different colors. And then of course the white. Now, I started painting these with a brush, and it just was a mess. It kind of was getting all over, and I probably was using too big of a brush. So what I've decided, handy dandy little finger, because it's fun and it's effective and it's not as messy. So I'll show you a little bit of my technique here. I'm going to use the deep, oh, and this is like a Chinese takeout thing or whatever. We've got a million of them lying around. So I just take some of my red, and I'm actually going to mix a little of the sienna in there, just a little bit, just as a start. Mix it all up. And as you can see, this is a really nice, rich, reddish color, and very appropriate for bricks. And I'm literally just going to take it and put it over here. Now the great thing about using acrylic paint is that it covers this so nicely. And this telephone book paper is actually strong enough that it takes the coating really, really nicely. And remember to get all the edges, because we're going to be filling these gaps in with gray caulk and then coating that whole thing with sand to give the effect of mortar. So as you can see, I have mixed a whole bunch of different colors, and just try to get that as completely as you can. I've got all sorts of different colors here. I didn't want it to be that uniform. You can do whatever you want, but this is what I have chosen to do, the different color palette. And I'm just going to go around right now and paint as many bricks as I have this color. And, you know, it's fun. You just kind of pick a few random bricks. Maybe you've got two that are together. This is the fun thing about this project. You can do whatever you want. And next time I will show you about the caulk. Moved on to the caulking that I wanted to do to fill in the bricks and make it look like it's the mortar. And what I did was I bought some gray caulk, and I cut the tip off to measure about 1/4 of an inch. Now, the tricky thing is that we have depth already with our bricks, and we don't want to lose that depth. That is the whole point of making these bricks different depths. So you really only want to put caulk on the surface of the cardboard, which is tricky because it's way deep in. Now, this is very tricky. I'm having a difficult time learning how to do it until I get my groove, but this is what I'm doing. I am putting a line of caulk right here, all the way across, a decent amount. And then I'm going to take my pinky and I'm going to try to smooth it as best I can, like so. And I can already see that I'm kind of starting to find my technique a little better. But this is very messy. And you're also going to see that you're going to get caulk on the bricks. Now, I personally don't mind that, because a lot of brick walls kind of look like this anyway. But if you want it to be nice and neat, you're going to have to really practice and get your technique down. Because like I'm showing you here, this is quite messy. And then of course, don't forget going down here. We put a little caulk in the vertical areas, smooth it out. Try to get everything nice and consistent. And already, I mean, I really like this look. This looks like a brick that is in mortar. So this is actually what I'm looking for, despite the messiness of it. So good luck. This is complicated. But the next step I'm going to show you is I wanted to add a little more texture in this. So I'm going to actually glue a layer of sand onto the caulk once it's dry. All right, so we kind of thought, hey, why don't we try using a tool? Because it's actually much neater than using your fingers, because as you can see, I've used all my fingers and I made a mess. So let me show you this technique. It's working very well, actually. I take my caulk and I'm going to put a nice line here, like we did before. Get a decent amount on there. And then we're just going to take this tool and slide it across so the caulk gets nice and spread out. That's working really well. And try to get all the edges. It's not quite as messy as my pinky. And then we can get in here even and do the vertical lines that we need to do on all of these bricks. And that is working really well. Remember, if you do make a mistake, caulk wipes away very easily while it's still wet. So it's definitely fixable while it's still wet. All right, I think that's going to work. Now you got the whole wall to do.
Green all the way in 6A.